Thank you, Steve. Well, no guns allowed at the Mall of America, despite the fact that the massive shopping center continues to step up security after a threat by terror group Al-Shabaab. They're holding to their policy to keep Americans disarmed. But our next guest says that this will create a kill zone of unarmed sheep. Strong words there. Joining me, Republican State Representative Tony Cornish, chair of the Minnesota House Public Safety Committee. He was also in law enforcement for 32 years and served 13 years in the Army National Guard. We thank you for your service and for joining us this morning. What does the sign to you say? For those at the Mall of America will not be able to carry arms. What does that do?
Well, it actually makes the Mall of America less safe. I mean, in America, when we feel a perceived threat, we don't call to disarm, we're called to arms. And by disarming everybody, they're telling a terrorist or would-be robber or somebody that's going to assault them that this is a gun-free zone and these are a bunch of unarmed sheep, like I said before.
Particularly on the heels of this threat from Al-Shabaab, do you believe it is ever more important to allow Americans to protect themselves and others?
Oh yeah, we see a threat from all sides, not only internally but externally. It's on the news every day, and people are really aware of that. So when they're invited to come to a shopping center and then they're told to disarm them and leave their guns at the door, and the signs are in English, they should be in the language of the countries that are sending terrorists here. I doubt if they're going to come up to the sign and read it and leave their gun at the door. So why should we?
You know, we kept hearing from officials that we need to be particularly careful when it comes to the Minnesota Mall here. How are we supposed to be careful if you're there shopping? The mall's massive, and you can't protect yourself or somebody else.
Well, just think about the people that have been involved as victims in these shootings. They're probably praying for somebody to show up with a gun. I mean, the only thing that the Mall of America is telling them to do is run, hide, and scream, and that's just not acceptable for Americans.
So let me just mention here, there was a case in Oregon, 2012, when in fact a shopper at the mall drew a personally owned firearm to protect somebody else who was aiming at others. So we've seen examples in the past of this working, where someone who was privately carrying was able to protect. What are the downsides, though, if you are to have private citizens in a mall carrying firearm?
Well, I don't see the downside. You know, they're always talking about crossfire and somebody getting hurt in the Wild West. That's just that's a hypocrisy. I mean, people should be allowed to defend themselves. What's the alternative? Sit there and watch somebody open up with an AK and maim and injure dozens of people? I think people will feel better about an American holding, a law-abiding citizen holding a firearm than a terrorist.
Tony Cornish, we thank you for spending some time with us this morning and breaking that down.
Thank you very much.